So we just started it. So we'll just give it some time because people are just joining in. So we'll just give it a couple of minutes so that people can log in. Good morning from Munir. Hi. The chat section is already being active. So yes, good morning, assalamu alaikum from a lot of people. So we'll just give it a few more minutes. Are you all connecting from Dubai or are you from different parts of the world? We'd like to know who we are addressing here. Dubai, yes. Italy, Algeria. I'm from India, Nigeria, South Africa, Qatar, Norway. So it's a mix. Okay, Fahad, you have a very diverse crowd here to address. So we already have close to 100 participants here. So in Zoom, so I think we're already live on LinkedIn also. So we have quite a good number here. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting session because with all the boom that's happening with AI, I mean, I know this is not initially in our, portfolio of events in the schedule. This is like a wildcard entry, Fahad. So, I mean, we found this topic so interesting and there's a lot of demand. People have mixed thoughts about it. People really don't know exactly how to use or harness the power of ChatGPT or AI in general. So, this is one topic that, I think everyone is looking forward to listen to you. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of value from the session. So I have Fahad with me right now. Fahad, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Neha.
Would you want to say hi to everyone who's connected here right now?
Absolutely. It's very impressive to see such a decent crowd from so many different places. The last one that I've just seen come up on the screen, oh, we've got two, Jamila from the UK and Jerusalem. We've got people from Bangladesh, Algeria. It's crazy.
It is. So I think we can get started. It's 3 past 11. We have over 100 people on the call. This session would be recorded either way. So whoever's missed it can get access to this at a later point of time. So yes, good morning from Dubai. And I have with me Mr. Fahad Bizari. He is currently, the founder of the Bellamy Alden Institute for AI Enablement. Coming to his background, he has a diverse background, immense experience. He's been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. He has great experience within software development, knowledge engineering, management consulting, training, copywriting, and he has covered over 1,000 plus hours on GPT and GPT. That's over 2,000 hours mentoring, coaching, giving value-added sessions to people who can harness, the potential of ChatGPT. I mean, I believe it's all about uh, giving the right prompt, right? It's prompt engineering. So if you give the right prompt, it gives you the best results. So Fahad has somehow found, the trick behind how to, give you the best results, and he's going to talk about it. Give some tips and tricks. Although it's a short session again, so we won't be covering the entire thing. However, we have a follow-on, a boot camp that we are planning to do in Dubai. It's a face-to-face session that's going to be held on the 12th and 13th of August. It's a session from 9 to 5 in person. So we have very limited seats for that, where he's going to talk about, a complete overview of how to exactly maximize ChatGPT for your business operations, for all work. It's not just for business owners, it's for everybody. But this specific boot camp will be specifically for business owners on exactly how you can potentially use the power of AI to drive your business in certain ways. So that is something that I would believe you wouldn't want to miss if you're in Dubai. This is something that you should be attending, because it can save you a lot of cost in future, streamlining your operations. There's a lot that you can learn from it. And this is a 2-day bootcamp event, in-person event. We can share the link on the chat, so you can go and register. It was, priced at a higher price, but especially for Creative Zone members, we're giving it at a, an absolutely wonderful price. I mean, that's something that you should take use of. I mean, so that's from my end about Fahed. So please, can you share that link on the chat box here, so that people can, we can see what value you can offer with these courses. And over to you, Fahad. Now the stage is yours.
All right, Neha, thank you very much for your introduction. Thank you very much for you and Creative Zone for having me with you guys today. And thank you very much for the so far 126 participants that have joined us. So today's session, I've called it Jumping into the Deep End of ChatGPT. But before I go into explaining the difference between the shallow end and the deep end, and taking you guys through the process, I'd just like to start with a short story of how I discovered the deep end. Because I've been using GPT, which is, so if you think of ChatGPT, there's two parts to it. One is chat, one is GPT. So I've been using GPT since the beginning of 2022. But when I think back, I was actually using it on the shallow end the entire time. It was only after ChatGPT was released and came to the fore, and I was experimenting with it on a day-by-day basis, trying to push its limits, trying to see what it could do, etc., that I stumbled across what I call the deep end. And I had to put together a business plan. Now, most business plans are formalities. We have to put together the business plans to make a bank happy, to make an investor happy, to make an incubator happy. It's always about making other people happy. But in actual fact, the business plan is supposed to be there to help us actually figure out what we're going to do. Now, one of the big problems we have as entrepreneurs is we get this kind of fit of inspiration where we get overwhelmed by the idea to create a business, and then we just run with it without actually planning things in detail. Now, I did need to create a business plan as a formality, and I had set a weekend to do it. I was traveling from London to Manchester, and I told myself I'll spend the mornings in Manchester working on the business plan. But by the time I reached Manchester, I realized that I had left the adapter for my laptop in London, which basically meant that I had no access to my laptop, which was very frustrating. So I opened up ChatGPT and I said, all right, I don't have my laptop, but at least let me have a chat with ChatGPT about the topic. So I said to it, I said, listen, I need to put together a business plan. So you and I are going to have a long conversation. I'm going to ask you questions and you're going to give me answers. And you are going to ask me questions and I'm going to give you answers. And once we're done exploring everything, we will then put together the business plan, which by that time I would be back in London with my laptop. And to cut the long story short, this turned out to be the single most impressive business plan that I have ever created in 20 years of entrepreneurship. Not only was it the most impressive, but it was also the fastest. And if I had actually tried to put together that business plan by myself in a pre-ChatGPT era, it would have taken me at least a month. But in the end, I got it done in 2 half mornings and 3 part afternoons. Let's just say 2 days. And that's what I call the deep end. And I'm going to start taking you through that now. And we're going to do, the way I've structured today's masterclass is I will take you through a 2-minute walkthrough of what I mean by the deep end. I will then take you through a practical live demo. Thereafter that, I will show you an example that I often go through in my workshops. And then finally, I will do another live demo on a topic that's very relevant to us and those of us who have business ideas and are either entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. So what is the difference between the shallow end and the deep end? The shallow end is what most of us are using at the moment. The reality of ChatGPT is that it is reactive. It sits there, it does nothing. Until you prompt it, it's just in a state of sleep, waiting to be awoken by its human pilot and summoned for action. So by default, ChatGPT is reactive. And we have to prompt ChatGPT for anything to happen next. We have to ask it a question. We have to give it a task. We are the ones who are prompting it. So the typical uses that we see in the shallow end are asking ChatGPT to act effectively as a search engine. Instead of going to Google and doing the search and jumping between the pages, we are trying to get everything consolidated in one interface without the adverts, etc. That, of course, also includes asking it questions. And as many of us have started to realize, the fact that ChatGPT, of course, can write for us. However, when we get into the deep end, ChatGPT actually becomes proactive. It means that ChatGPT is not waiting for us to prompt it. Rather, ChatGPT is the one that is prompting us. And in this type of situation, effectively, ChatGPT is acting as our facilitator, it's acting as our guide, it's acting as our cognitive thinking partner, it's effectively acting as our co-pilot. And you can easily think about Jarvis in the Iron Man Marvel series, where Jarvis is not just sitting there waiting for Tony Stark to give it commands. In actual fact, Jarvis is running Tony Stark's business. We're not there yet, of course. We're only on Jarvis 0.1, but still, getting into the deep end means that we activate ChatGPT to be proactive and to prompt us. Now, I used the word facilitator in that last slide, and I'd like to quickly just highlight a few points about what it means to be a facilitator. A facilitator does not actually solve your problem. There's a problem, but the responsibility to solve the problem lies with you. It lies with us. What the facilitator does is guide us, direct us, manage us through a process, all the while without solving the problem themselves. And if you've ever worked with a coach or a life coach, you'll understand exactly what a facilitator is. And facilitators actually are magical people. And I wish that everybody had facilitators in their lives, had coaches, performance coaches, life coaches, and so on. Because one of the issues that we have as human beings is human weaknesses. We get distracted very easily. Our minds have got all of these racing thoughts happening. You know, we could be in the middle of one activity and be reminded of another activity and so on. And what the facilitator does is keep us on track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over. Before I jump over, in the comment section, I'd like to know how many of you are familiar with the SMART goals framework. So type in yes or no into the chat so I know who I'm talking to. Wow, lots of yeses, yeses. Okay, we've got a couple of no's. This chat box is on fire. And this is a high performance crowd, by the way. Well, I mean, the person that said surprised, if not, I asked this question in my workshops and I find that half the room is yes and half the room is no. All of us are on a journey and all of us are learning en route. Carol Talbot, I see you, right? So Carol Talbot actually is the one who I learned the SMART framework from, God knows, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And that session was pivotal for me. So thank you, Carol. Okay, so because we have many no's, in fact, you know what? Thank you, Shajan. Before I go on to talk about SMART goals, now this question is only for the people that said yes. So all of you who said no, stay out of this chat response. All the people who say yes. You know about SMART goals. You are familiar with SMART goals. But are you religious about SMART goals? So, you know, when you have those goals, is it, I want financial freedom, that's my goal? Or have you actually taken your goal through the process by which you actually turn that vague goal, non-SMART goal, into an actual goal? Now, so far, I'm enjoying looking at this chat, right? Now, it's really important for all of us to be vulnerable. Especially as we start to go into the AI world, it's important for us to be vulnerable because AI is coming in to fill in our gaps, right? It's coming in to support us in those areas where we're weak. So for all the people that were vulnerable in the chat box now and were able to admit no, you know, I'm with you guys. I love the framework of SMART goals, but as human beings, we're lazy. As human beings, we want things fast. As human beings, we're emotional. As human beings, we're distracted and so on. So I'm going to bring onto the screen now. This is the framework of the SMART goals. So I'm just going to give you guys all, especially the people that have never been exposed to it, I'm going to give you guys all 60 seconds to just have a look at the screen. I know that some of these terms can be defined in different ways, but for the purposes of today, this is how we're defining them. So take 60 seconds and have a look. All right, so the general difference is, for example, a vague goal might be, I want to buy a house. Okay, well, if you want to talk about specific, well, how big do you want that house to be? How many rooms are going to be in that house? Where is that house going to be? If you want to talk about measurable, in the case of a house, it's very easy. But the idea is that an independent person should be able to say, yes, Fahid has achieved his goal. So setting up a company might mean, or buying a house might mean that you have the title deed in your hand. You know, the goal of, you know, becoming rich, as many people have as a goal, might mean having a certain amount of money in your bank account. Attainable is that, is it realistic for you to achieve, you know, going to the moon? I mean, maybe it is actually starting to become a bit more achievable than 10, 20 years ago, but is it realistic for you to achieve? Relevant means that it's aligned with your goals and your objectives and your values. And finally, time bound means that you've set a specific date. Now, when you, and I'm going to show you how now, when you take your vague goals and turn them into SMART goals, they suddenly become very tangible. They become very real. They become something that you can see and feel and touch. Yes, Jamila, you're absolutely right. And I'll show you in the prompt that we tell that to ChatGPT, right? So Jamila, I'm with you. And you'll see in the prompt that we tell ChatGPT, especially those of us that believe in the divine and believe in the universe and that we believe in human potential. Now, I'm going to take you over now. What I have on the screen now is a prompt. It's actually a premium prompt. If you can see on the screen now, you're only going down to step 1. Below it goes 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually a prompt that we sell, but we also give it for free as well for people that are willing to share it. And I'll tell you guys about that another time. But for now, I'm going to jump out of the presentation and I'm going to take us over to ChatGPT, where over here, I have the full prompt. Now, this is a full prompt that my prompt engineer inside Bellamy Alden has written in detail. And this is the first response. Now, I'd like somebody in the crowd to volunteer with a vague goal that is a sincere goal. Could be to get married, could be to open a business. You're going to have to put your goals in the chat and I'll choose one of them for us to work with. So all of you, okay, to be a good father, Abdurrahman, getting married, waking up at 5 a.m., learning the Quran, to be a public speaker. Ian, I like that one. To have my own brand. Munir, that one is too specific. You're halfway through the smart process there. Maz, to have steady income, losing weight. You know, okay, becoming the world's first trillionaire. Is this a Dubai thing? We got billionaires, trillionaires. All right, I'm going to go. There's one that's kind of been recurring here. There was people that wanted to have their own brand. People want to have their own business. I've seen the business one come up several times. So I'm going to go, and I've seen stable income and so on. So I'm going to go with the business one, right? So let's go with this. Let's have a redefine. Let me just go into presentation view where I switch this on, which allows us to have more screen space for ChatGPT, although it should actually be bigger than this, much bigger than this, but it's okay. In fact, you know what, let me switch it off. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure that it takes as much screen space as possible so that it's all easily read by you guys. So let me zoom in, zoom, zoom, zoom. All right. So ChatGPT is basically saying, I'm going to act as your goal coach and give me your goal, and we're going to try and make it time bound. Now, although you would think, let's start with SMART, when you work with ChatGPT, ChatGPT has an obsession with making things time bound. So whether it's about specific, it will default to time bound. Whether you're talking about measurable, it goes to time bound. So we basically go through time bound first when we're using ChatGPT. So we're going to say here, my goal is to have a successful business. Let's see what happens. This has not been rehearsed. This is not a recording. Okay, to have a successful business. So if you see over here, what's happening here is that, one second, let me just move this. What you see over here is that ChatGPT is saying, look, I've evaluated it and it's not time bound. Having a successful business doesn't say by when or anything else that's time related. And it's now gone into actually giving you the wisdom as to why it should be time bound. So if you see over here with an end date in sight, you're more likely to start taking actionable steps to reach your goal rather than continuously putting it off to someday and so on. Okay. So we have a question now, and Amjad, we're going to go with you because you're the last one to talk about setting up a successful business. Amjad, tell us, by when do you want to have a successful business? By the end of a certain year, within a few years, by a specific date? All right, let's make this a collaborative process. We're going to go with Munir's because he's the fastest. I'm going to put here 2026, which is more or less the same as Amjad. All right, Amjad, within 2 years. Sorry, Munir. We started with Amjad. I'm going to continue with him. Within 2 years. So now what ChatGPT has updated and said, okay, are you happy with this revised version, which is to have a successful business within 2 years? Yes. Great. Now, measurable. It's giving us the wisdom of having it being measurable. And then it's saying that, look, within 2 years is not explicitly measurable, because success, look at what it's saying here. The definition of success can be subjective and mean different things to different people. And now what ChatGPT is doing is asking us, what are the specific indicators or criteria that would signify your business is successful? And then it is suggesting potential ideas. It could be the number of locations. It could be the number of repeat clients, the specific amount of income. So, Amjad, we're with you. You need to be fast in your responses. What is an indicator that a third party could look at your business and say, yes, that's success? Amjad, you got 30 seconds to let us know what was the definition of success for you. Be vulnerable. If it's $1 million of revenue per year, say so. If it's 100 million, say so. Whatever it is, say what it is that's in your heart. Yes, Aisha, absolutely. You can have all of these indicators of success. Amjad, I need a specific measure of success. Otherwise, we're going to go with Peter. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go with something that's common to many people. All right. So 1 million revenue per year. And let's add that to say 15% repeat customers. Aisha, you're cutting yourself short. Let's say 50% repeat customers. All right. So now what ChatGPT has done is that it has told us, yep, that is a good way of measuring success. Here is an updated version of the goal: to have a business generating at least $1 million in revenue per year with a 50% customer retention rate within 2 years. Are you happy with this updated version? Yes. It's confirmed that it is measurable. And now we talk about specificity. So specificity details the details of your goal. So far we've been quite specific about the goal, but what we haven't been specific is now being presented to us here. So it's giving us here on the left-hand side potential scopes of ambiguity, such as, well, you didn't mention what type of business it is. You didn't mention where the business will operate. And what I could even do is ask it, can you give me some more points of ambiguity and suggestions and questions to help me figure it out? And this is very true of a facilitator in the real world. What problem does your business solve? Who is the target customer? How will you generate revenue? So you remember, the facilitator is not there to actually do it for you. The facilitator is there to facilitate you, okay? Now, there's a lot to put here. Jamila, the answer is yes. Linel, the answer is yes for both of you. ChatGPT can do all of these things, okay? So for now, let us decide what type of business this is. Amjad, can you get on and let us know? Otherwise, we're going with Aisha, who is, we're going with Aisha. This is a collaborative business, guys. This is now a collaborative business, which Creative Zone is going to help us set up. All right, so where'd it go? Where'd it go? I just pasted. That's weird. All right. Oh, Amjad is back. Amjad, food business is not specific enough. So we're going to go with Aisha. It is a handmade bath and skincare business for millennials. Let us see here. All right, so here's the revised version of your goal: to establish a handmade bath and skincare business targeting millennials, generating at least $1 million in revenue per year with a 50% customer retention rate within 2 years. Wow, this goal is starting to get on fire. Oh, there's the Creative Zone guys jumping in. Absolutely. 800 license. I like your phone number, guys. So let's go with this. Yes. We are happy with this updated version of our goal. Now, of course, we could add more details. We could have multiple measures of criteria. Now, here's the part which gets interesting, which is the question of relevance. Now, ChatGPT has no idea who is on the other side of the keyboard. A time will come where our AIs know exactly who we are. They know exactly what time we wake up. They know exactly what our preference is, what our tastes are. And this is the direction that Microsoft AI will go. This is the direction that, that all of the current search engine providers, this is the direction that all of their AIs will go. They will give us amazing free AI, personal AI that knows us very well, but that's how they are going to stay relevant in selling us ads in the future. Okay. For now, though, ChatGPT has no idea who we are, has no idea. So if you see here, it says, given that I don't have detailed knowledge about your life and broader aims, I cannot directly evaluate the relevance of your goal. However, I can guide you through some considerations. And now it's come up with all of these different considerations to make. For example, does it align with your personal aspirations? Is this type of business something that you're passionate about? How does it connect with your long-term plans? How will this contribute positively to your financial security? Okay. Does this resonate with your lifestyle? Will this give you the lifestyle that you want? And so on. Okay. So at this point, if you see how it closes over here, if you have other factors to consider, feel free to share them. You can also ask me to suggest more questions if you'd like. Once you've taken some time to ponder, so I'm going to say here, based on Aisha, because this is her business, yes, all of these resonate with me. Yes, Ellie, it is absolutely astonishing. So it goes over here and says, yes, okay, great. We can confirm that this is relevant. And the last thing is, and this is where I can't remember who it was earlier on, maybe Jamila. It says, whilst it's important to set challenging goals, it's important to ensure they're realistic. This doesn't mean the goal has to be easy, because the most rewarding goals often require us to stretch ourselves. Given that I don't know your personal conditions, now the same thing as the relevance, let me give you some questions. Do you have the skills and knowledge to do this? Are there skills and knowledge gaps that you need to address, and can you address them? Do you have the resources, physical resources? Is there demand? You could, as a person, feel absolutely driven to do all of these things, but there's just no demand in the market. Do you genuinely believe you can achieve this goal? Do you have supportive network? Okay, so these questions are just prompts for you to consider. Aisha, over to you. Do you believe that you can achieve this? I can already tell by the type of business you're in, it's an operational business. I'm going to just say, yes, Aisha, I believe that you can do it. All right. Now, what it's done is it's showing us our goal before and after. This was when it was a vague goal to have a successful business. And this is after. And over here, there's a breakdown of how each element was achieved. Specific, because we said it's handmade bath and skin targeting millennials. Measurable, 1 million in revenue with a 50% retention rate. Attainable. It's relevant and it's time-bound. Aisha is asking, can it help with fixing that 50%? Absolutely. ChatGPT, let me tell you guys, ChatGPT doesn't just know a lot about a lot. ChatGPT is like having an entire think tank at your disposal. It's like having an entire army of interns, and those interns are Elon Musk when he was 19 years old. He may not have the experience that he has now, but he's devoured entire libraries and can put things together in ways that will literally blow your brain from day to day. Now I'm going to jump back over to the presentation. So this, what we just did now, was a I wouldn't call it a pre-rehearsed example of the deep end, but I can tell you that this prompt up here, to make all of that happen took our in-house prompt engineer, I would say, a grand total of maybe 10 working hours to actually make this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back, and we don't all have 12, we don't have that time. And we don't actually, unless we're doing this stuff again and again and again, we don't actually need to do such detailed prompts unless we are sharing those prompts with other people. So for example, now I have this prompt. Anytime I have a goal, I can now make it a SMART goal because I just jump into this. Emre, this is a premium prompt that we sell. However, we can give it to you for free. And all you have to do at the end, I'll share my LinkedIn. Reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will guide you on how to get it for free. So let's get back to this presentation and come back here. Hey, oh, that seems to be okay. Now, where can this be applied? It can be applied. The two best places I've seen this applied is when we need to plan something out, right? Because what happens now, let's just take a very simple example of a barbecue. I want to plan out a barbecue. So ChatGPT can jump in and say, all right, have you thought about food? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? What about this? What about that? What about this? And what happens in that situation is that the burden of thinking about these things is taken off of our head. And we now have ChatGPT acting as our barbecue plan facilitator, or our business plan, or our business plan facilitator, or our career plan facilitator. And I've done this with my kids where I've asked ChatGPT, or I've helped them to ask ChatGPT to act as their life plan facilitator, okay? It also works really well with established frameworks. So for example, doing a SWOT analysis. So you come in and you say to it that, listen, we are a hand soap company and we are looking to expand, and I need your help putting together a SWOT analysis so that we can take a honest, vulnerable look at ourselves in ready to guide our expansion, okay? Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring it on screen. I'm more than happy to share this with you guys. In fact, I will share it with you guys. This is an actual demo of something that we did as a group in one of my workshops. I can see it there. It says June the 8th. So what we do in my workshops, let me tell you how my workshops are structured. The ChatGPT Accelerator is, it takes place over 2 days, right? In 2 days, I am taking my students literally from zero to hero. And I'm taking you guys from the shallow end to the deep end so that you can do all of this stuff by yourself by the end of day 2. Of course, you need to keep it up after day 2, but it really is an immersive workshop. It was originally called the ChatGPT Bootcamp to illustrate the nature of the workshop, because it is work, 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 work. Everybody brings their laptops. We do a demo from the front, then everybody gets 20, 30 minutes to actually implement that demo. And I have my team, including myself, walking around, peering over people's screens, making sure everybody's doing things the way that it's supposed to be done, and answering questions that people have and helping them overcome their stumbling blocks. Now, I know this sounds very salesy, but it would be unfair of me not to say so. When the ChatGPT Accelerator is done with me directly through Bellamy Alden, it costs 4,200 dirhams. But the agreement and partnership that I have with Creative Zone for the accelerator that's taking place on August 12th and 13th has effectively brought the price down to 2,000 dirhams. So if you guys are in Dubai in August, I can see that the team have put the details in the chat box. Please copy and paste those details and go back and check it after the workshop, after this webinar. So to get back on track, what we have over here is not some massive prompt. All we've done is said, listen, I want to go on a holiday. Give me 10 questions to help me figure out what type of holiday I want to do. And ChatGPT has come along and said, here are 10 questions. Now I'm going to take you to this chat. I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to walk you through this one. And then the next demo is something that we'll type together. This is a very important line, which is, I want you to ask me the first question only, and don't move on to the next question until we've got a good answer to the first one. So if you see over here, do you prefer a relaxing beach vacation or an adventurous outdoor experience? And what we've said is, if you go over here, that's it, asking the question. And what we've done is say neither. I don't want to go on a beach. I don't want to go there. You want ChatGPT that has access to the vast majority of humanity's knowledge. Give me more ideas, not just those two. And it's come along and talk about now cultural exploration, food and culinary experiences, spa and wellness retreats, city exploration, wildlife and nature, historical exploration. Mike, you see what I mean? And if I wanted to, I could ask it for more. But when I was doing this in the workshop that I was doing it with, they basically said, hey, listen, let's go more into this historical exploration concept, which we did. And now we went over here and now we've gone through this whole process. So by the end of this entire conversation, we end up with a holiday in Bali that combines ecotourism adventure with a volcano trek. It's given us the destination. It's told us the approximate duration. It's given us an itinerary. Now, I must tell you, with ChatGPT, whenever you see numbers come on the screen, tread with caution. This is a language model. It is a raw language model, which means you could give it 5 paragraphs of text and ask it to count the number of paragraphs, and it might say 4 and it might say 6. You have to understand how it works to understand why that's the case. This is not Google, it's not a search engine, it's not an old school chatbot, it's a language model, it's a beast. You need to understand that beast in order to know how to ride that beast, how to tame that beast, ride that beast, and use that beast to your advantage. Now, we only have 18 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is now take you guys over to the third and final demo. Now, I have something on the screen. Sneha. All right, fantastic. You know what, guys? Let me share that with you. Give me 1 second. So if I go over here, go back into view, open this up. This is my gift to you guys in the call. Okay. And what you can do, you can continue the conversation and then you can go back and start it again wherever you want. This is something that we do in the workshop. But in the entrepreneurs workshop, we might do a different one because everybody is either an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur. So let me get back into the presentation and again, ask. I saw 2 people answer. One of them said business model, correct. Aisha, Samashkar, yes, it's the business model canvas. Now, for those of you who do not know what this is, this can save you in your entrepreneurial journey. It can save you years of your life. It can literally save you years of your life. Because earlier on, when we were looking at SMART goals, we asked one of the questions, is it realistic? Now, I believe in God. I believe in the infinite possibilities of life. I am a very ambitious person. I see things that don't exist, and I believe that they can be achieved, and I believe that they can be realized. However, I am also a marketer. I have a first-class degree in marketing. I'm also a scientist. I believe in the realities of science. So, if there is no market demand for that thing which I'm passionate about, It means I need to redirect my passion. It means that I need to take that passion, take that energy, not obsess about that outcome that I thought my passion was about. And I need to take that passion towards an outcome that is more realistic. And that's what this canvas does. So if you go on Google, I'll just type it in here, Lean Canvas. So you can go after the workshop and go and find out about the Lean Canvas. There are online courses that will teach you about it. There are massive amounts of YouTube videos and massive amounts of resources. But what we're going to do now is jump back over to ChatGPT. And we are going to, sorry, I apologize. We are going to, where is it? So let me minimize this. Where is it? Oh, I know why. Give me a second, guys. I did have it set up, but my setup has betrayed. All right. So what we have over here is a conversation, which I started just because this is a 1-hour call. Otherwise, I would have taken you through it. Are you familiar with the Lean Canvas? And of course it is. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to bring the Canvas description into the context window of ChatGPT. Bringing knowledge into the context window of ChatGPT is the single most powerful way of amplifying the effectiveness of ChatGPT on a day-to-day basis. And you got to think of it like a spotlight, okay? So you could have lots of lights in a room, but if you bring a spotlight and shine it in a specific area of the room, that spotlight will outdo all of the other lights in the room. So you got to think about all of those lights as the general knowledge, the general vast, massive amount of knowledge that ChatGPT has access to. And you got to think of the spotlight as that area of knowledge that you want it to focus on right now with the challenge or the task that you are bringing to ChatGPT. So it goes on and says, yes, this is the Lean Canvas. This is how it's being divided. Okay. Now, I ask it the question. Remember, we are working now to turn it into a facilitator of the Lean Canvas. So I say to it, I'm looking to explore a new business idea. What's the ideal flow? Now, this question is really important because if you take a business plan as an example, you guys tell me, what's the first page of a business plan? The first page of a business plan. What is typically the first page of a business plan? Please, guys, put it into the comments. You say problem, but in actual fact, Asif has got it there, which is the executive summary, professional summary. So in actual fact, the summary is the final stage in the business plan, not the first. But if you look at it, you'll think that it's the first. So what we've done here, although it listed over here, up here, it said the first thing is problem, then the solution. In actual fact, you need to think about who exactly are you trying to target? Okay, you've got the problem in your head. You've got this idea that you want to make, hand soap. Aisha, can you remind us what your business is over here just to make things easy for me whilst I'm continuing to talk? Now, it's told us, that's it. Thank you. I'm going to copy that and copy. All right. So over here, it's told us go through it in this order. And I'm telling it now, I want you to help me get through this. Let's start with customer segments. And once we complete this section, we'll repeat the process. And I want to do this in such a way that you ask me questions and I give you answers. I want you to be the facilitator, okay? So we have over here, I'm going to just tell it, let me make sure this is the end. So what we've also asked it here is what I told you from that previous prompt, which was the magic phrase, ask me one question at a time. So we're going to go here and we're going to say millennial women. Oops, did that copy? Let me just type it. Millennial women. That was bad spelling. Okay, now here is the magical part, guys. I'm going to tell it. I don't actually know the answers to this question or any other question you might ask me. This is where we go, not just in the deep end, this is where we start swimming in the ocean. Okay? Any question you might ask me, oops, hold on, might ask me. All I know is that my business will provide handmade bath and skincare products for millennial women. That spelling is killing me. Okay, here we go. Millennial women. So now, working with ChatGPT as your co-pilot requires a number of paradigm shifts. Okay? Because never before have we actually had an AI co-pilot willing to serve us the way that ChatGPT is willing to serve us. It's willing to serve us 24/7. It's willing to serve us by synthesizing humanity's knowledge. It's willing to serve us by acting as whoever we want it to act. And it's even willing to help us think. So and one of those paradigm shifts that we need to go through is the paradigm shift of going from creating to curating. Creating is when we have to come up with all of the ideas. And that is such a painful process. And something that one mission statement, vision statement, one value statement that's one sentence long could actually take us hours upon hours because creativity is so difficult. You've got a dot here of creativity. You have another dot there. To fuse those dots together and produce something does not happen just like, well, it did not used to happen just like this. But with ChatGPT, ChatGPT brings out the dots. ChatGPT connects the dots. And then we intuitively know, yes, that's the one. We curate instead of create. So I'm going to go over here. Aisha, I'm going to ignore that part, that last message, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do some of the heavy lifting. So all I know is that my business will provide this. So please suggest answers to your question for me to figure things out. For me to, no, questions for me, answers to your question to inspire me. Now, Aisha, have a look at this. They may prefer natural, organic, and cruelty-free products. And what were you saying over here? While minimizing environmental impact. Right? So this is what we've done over here now is ChatGPT has already started not just to ask us questions about who our customers are likely to be, but it's even suggesting answers for us. And I'm very sure, Aisha, that you can be looking at this and intuitively be saying, and excuse my French, holy shit, ChatGPT has literally jumped into my mind and started to see exactly what I had in mind. And of course, if there are slight differences, you can work on those differences. But what we have right here now is literally within seconds, ChatGPT has done what previously could have taken hours. Once we have answered this, ChatGPT will take us to the next step in the canvas, the third step, the fourth step, the fifth step. Within 1 or 2 hours, you could actually have your lean canvas. Now, I'm going to jump out of this and open up the floor for questions. Neha or Valerie, I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of the questions that have been coming up. If not,
Yes, hi Fahad. Thank you so much for this session. Yes, we're actually getting a lot of questions. I know we're running out of time. We just have 5 minutes. So I believe that it was such an interactive session. So most of the questions that were coming in, you've already addressed them, took them through live case examples. So I think we're pretty much over there. I mean, again, due to time constraints, we will have to stop the session. So again, there's a few on the chat box. If you want to look into that, Fahad, maybe?
sure. So a couple of questions that I can see. Somebody asked about market research. Market research, I advise you to use a product called Perplexity. Perplexity.ai is created by somebody who used to work at OpenAI. And as far as I'm concerned, from all of the AIs that connect to the internet, this one is absolutely the best. So you can ask it questions about market research, and it will also give you accurate resources, references that you can click and go to. Somebody else was asking about, one second. Is there an online boot camp? Unfortunately, at the moment, it is offline. It is in person. I still need to get to a point where, I don't want to just produce videos that people watch and ignore. There's lots of stuff like that online. I am driven by human transformation. So when people attend my accelerator, people are coming to be transformed. It's not about content. It's about work under professional guidance and professional supervision. So Dunya, for now, unfortunately, it's not possible, but best wishes with your surgery. The presentation, not a copy of the presentation, but Creative Zone have recorded this. And if you go to their website, the link, I don't know where you'll find that link for those people who join the webinar directly. But if you go there, you'll be able to get a video recording.
Yes, all of this will be recorded and uploaded on our YouTube channels. And you can even go to startupacademy.ae, the website. Everything is going to be available online there. So yes, we are recording the session and it will be uploaded.
Perfect, wonderful. Regarding privacy, so the way privacy works at the moment with ChatGPT is this. Whatever content you put in there, contrary to popular belief, is not being shared with the world. There are kids asking all sorts of stupid things in there, and ChatGPT is not allowing that junk to reach the rest of the world. The only time that other human beings will see whatever you put in there, if you have your privacy settings open, and you don't really have a choice but to leave it. There is a choice to close it, but it messes up with the functionality. It's just, annoying. So the people at OpenAI from time to time are reviewing our content to see how ChatGPT is performing. So, those guys, it's mostly AI that's doing all of those reviews, but humans are stepping in from time to time to have a look at what their pet is doing. Do you know what I mean? So your business is not being shared with the world, but those guys at OpenAI who are busy revolutionizing the world do not care that much about your business idea. Again, so for you guys to learn about the course, go to this website. It's on the screen. You've already been seeing it. You can learn about the course there. And at the bottom, August 12th and 13th is what gets you that 2,000 dirham price that has been negotiated with Creative Zone. Otherwise, my next workshop, which is more open, is in September. And that one is 4,222, actually. And I will bring on the screen now. This is my LinkedIn. For those of you who would like that SMART goals prompt, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know that you attended today and that you would like that prompt, and my team will guide you on how to sort that out. So I think, Neha, we have reached our 12 o'clock cutoff point.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
So I'd like to thank everybody.
I know it's such an interactive session. The chat box is still blowing up with questions, and I'm sure there are tons of other questions that people want to ask. So that's why, again, we're arranging this 2-day session for you guys. you can attend the session, talk to Fahad directly, address all your concerns and questions, so you can get started from there.
Yeah, in fact, for those people who are saying that they can't message me, about 2 posts ago, I posted about today's event. So if you want, jump into the comments there, say, Fahad, thanks for a great session. I'd like to think that's what you'll say. And please, can you get that SMART goals prompt over to me? And then my team will do that for you. Hani, thank you very much for your kind words. And, guys, I haven't been paid to do this, but I can tell you, I love the guys at Creative Zone. I love Creative Zone. For those of you who are thinking about putting together a business or want support with your business, speak to the guys at Creative Zone. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Yes. And
Right.
Fahad, we'll see you on the 12th and 13th.
Fantastic. Take care, guys.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
Pleasure. Bye.